Well, welcome back to the nerdy neighborhood, everybody, and welcome back to your friendly neighborhood comic show. I'm your host, Lauren, your friendly neighborhood bi. And as you can see here, we have two awesome indie creator guests, and they are extra special. And we'll talk about why that is. But they're joining me here today for another Cooking with Creators episode. We've got Randy Stone and Jordan ALSAQA. I knew I messed it up. I wrote it out so I got the syllables right, and then I messed it up. ALSAQA. Jordan ALSAQA. I'm so sorry, Jordan, but I got fine. There. How are you guys tonight?
Excellent, thank you.
Doing well.
Good. Randy, I love what the layout you got behind you. What's going on back there?
A bit of an original art collection. I used to want to be an inker. I picked up a bunch of art at conventions, building up a collection of originals and studying how all the lines and mark making was done. So it's kind of my prized possessions up there.
Nice. That's dangerous, like having them on display for all of us to see. Block out your address on the white pages. Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Those of you that may have missed it or you're new to the channel, Randy Stone and Jordan, they are co-writers on a story called Bold Adventures, a comic series. And actually, we had our first Neighborly Award show last year, and they were nominated. The series was nominated for Most Beautiful Series of the Year, which is amazing. What was it like for you guys, just now that you're here? What was it like for you guys to get that nomination?
Yeah, it was amazing. Really cool that it was fan nominated too. So we've got fans out there. It was really great to see that.
Yeah, it's always it's exciting. I mean, even again, the celebrities always say it's an honor just to be nominated. But really, when you're just starting out, when you're getting a series off the ground, it's nice knowing anyone paid attention beyond what you know, the two of us making it with the team.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you guys have such a great team, including one of the nominees and the winner of Letter of the Year last year at our Neighborlies award show. Lucas Gattoni actually is lettering it. So not only has your series been nominated for an award, but you've already got an award winner working with you all. So huge congrats. Like that's already a win when you're first starting out. That's amazing.
Yeah, Lucas is incredible, so really proud for him. He's got a lot of stuff in the works. So he's getting DC jobs and everything. Like, really proud of that guy, and honored to have him on our team.
Yeah, he brings something special to the book. It's been great having him on every issue we've done. I've started working with him on a separate pitch just because the work speaks for itself. So it's been great working with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Lucas got it with like over 50% of the vote or something crazy. So Lucas had like a huge margin, which is really great to see, especially because there were so many other great letterers on there that I expected to get more votes. So always great to see Neighborhood recognize great creators, including you guys and your team. But Bold Adventures right now, you guys are having a Kickstarter for more issues, which it seems like people want, considering you are award nominated. We've got issues 2 and 3 coming up. Tell us a little bit, just for the people that maybe are new to you guys and don't know Bold Adventures. What's it about? It looks like it has to do with speedsters, so that like caught my attention instantly.
Jordan, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, so Bullet Adventures, it continues from our original one-shot that Randy and I did a couple of years ago called Bullet, which was a 40-page one-and-done story about a guy who developed speed powers in the 60s, and now that he's an old man, he sort of starts reminiscing on his time as a superhero. And then from that, it had a really positive response. Randy and I had a great time working together, and we just decided we wanted to keep it going. Randy had ideas for a long time on what that would look like. We brainstormed it, and so with the first issue, we kind of revisited the ending of the story where our hero was at that point, and then with issues 2 and 3, which are kind of their own jumping on point, though you can definitely get issue 1 with this campaign. We jump to the future. We see the next generation of Speedster. It kind of shifts a bit more to a teen book in the vein of Spider-Girl or Miss Marvel. And it's fun, it's lighthearted. It's meant to kind of evoke Silver Age and a more lighthearted, simpler time in comics and I think we accomplished that pretty well.
That's awesome. I think, personally for me as a fan, I desperately want more lighthearted stuff and things like that nowadays, because, it's important that we tell these, more serious and even, relevant to our current time stories, but it's nice to just kind of escape again. So, and I saw it in the preview pages as well, which I'll get to in a moment. But I completely agree. You guys do such a great job just creating that environment. Like, I know just alone, like, fans of the Flash will enjoy the heck out of this because it brings a lot of the, old school qualities that the Flash has, but you guys put your own like modern twist on it that I think makes it even more relatable at times. I'm interested to hear, since you both co-write this together, what's that writing process like of communicating with each other and who writes what?
Jordan does all the heavy lifting for sure. Like I said, I had some ideas that I wanted to tackle and kind of a concept that allowed us to revisit the character. And that ultimately became the first issue of the ongoing series. But we just throw ideas back and forth, just emails flying back and forth. One person would kind of pitch something and the other would play off of it and build up maybe a tiny idea into something really amazing. And yeah, of course, Jordan's the great writer that he is, took the reins on the scripting, so most of the credit goes to him.
Well, credit to Randy as well, because the original one shot was something Randy had worked on, I think, a decade ago at this point.
At least, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
And he had a script, but he was looking for someone to rewrite it, reinvent it, update it for a modern audience. Not that there wasn't much updating, but just bringing it to a refresh. Like anything that you wrote 10 years ago, even if it was great, you probably have some thoughts on it at that point. But we worked together on that, and he laid out a great story with the one shot in terms of the character, the world, the twist at the end. It was just a good concept. And then, yeah, for this, I've done the majority of scripting, but like he said, it's very much a writer's room feel. We bounce ideas back and forth. We sort of split. It's like, oh, I'll come up with, here's what I'd like to do for an issue, or Randy will be like, here's something I've wanted to see in a superhero book, and it's very collaborative. So even though I'm doing the scripting, it certainly wouldn't be the book it is without all that Randy brings to it.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like if I keep going on this subject, then we're just going to go back and forth being like, no, you, no, you. Which, honestly, I joke, but that is one of the great things about the indie comic community as a whole, is everybody's so supportive of each other for the most part. Tell us about this main character. What do you think gets this main character to, really resonate with people and want to read more of Bullet Adventures?
Yeah, so this is a jumping on point with the new protagonist, Lainey. To date, it's been about Dale DeSouza, the superhero from the 60s. Mm-hmm. And this is actually his granddaughter. So we introduce her in the present day, and it's just another just fun, likable character. We're going to deal with her teenage angst a little bit, circle of friends, dealing with being a superhero aside from her life, and then family relationships, everything like that. Learning how to be a hero, as this is all new to her, and living in the, not a negative aspect of the shadow of her grandfather, but, trying to live up to his role that he played saving the world.
Yeah, and to me, it's, I'm a little biased because Lainey is a character that I got to be really on the ground floor of creating. I got to put a lot into Dale, but that story, existed in a form for a long time. But I'm a huge fan of the sort of books I mentioned: Spider-Girl, Miss Marvel, Cassandra Cain, and Stephanie Brown Batgirl. And that's sort of the vibe I was hoping to bring to a modern day take on a teen speedster. And we get into all the things you would probably expect to see from a teen character, like hiding their secret identity, juggling their social life and school life, and being a hero. But then also dealing with the legacy that was left behind that, for story reasons, we'll see as these issues go on, weighs pretty heavily on her. And I don't know, I think we just made a fun, likable teen superhero protagonist, which is one of my favorite things. So I'm just excited about the character for that reason.
Yeah, honestly, I think that is a very great way to go right now with anything, because that seems to be popular just in the general public right now. I mean, look at how Spider-Man's doing. I mean, Spider-Man's always done great, but even just the higher emphasis, I think, in the MCU films on, how young he is in high school and things like that. And the Miss Marvel show did very well. So I totally see, not only why, personally you want to tell that as well, but, why it's great to tell that story. Because I think people want those stories now. I don't think anybody will ever stop wanting those stories completely, but it definitely seems like a great time for them. Tell me as much as you can without spoiling too much about this villain here, because he looks very menacing, yet also hilarious at the same time. And I can't wait to figure out what the world this guy is up to.
Jordan, it's your baby.
So it's a speedster character, so as his line may indicate to anyone who hasn't read the full issue preview that you can find on our campaign, he's an ice villain, also probably apparent from the covers, but it's a speedster hero. I felt like you have to have an ice villain. We had the original Diamond Dust in the one shot, who we see one of Bullet's fights with. And so this is a character that is following in the original Diamond Dust's footsteps some 50, 60 years later. And he's coming at it from, I think, a fairly unique, or hopefully unique, standpoint of really revering the original Diamond Dust for some reason that we don't get into, and wanting to, kind of like Laney, live up to that legacy, whatever his relationship to it might be. But he has a different relationship to it than Laney has to her own, which is one of the things they clash over in this issue as they have their first fight. And yeah, hopefully it's a character that, like all our villains, I think, if we get the chance, we want to explore more and look into the backstory of and see exactly where his motivation is coming from. But if nothing else, he makes for a very fun ice villain for her to fight in this issue.
It's interesting because he's embracing that legacy and really wants to be the new Diamond Dust, whereas Laney is not comfortable being referred to as the new Bullet. She doesn't think she's ready. She's brand new at this, and they're mighty shoes to fill. So it's a contrast compared to how Diamond Dust sees himself as the new Diamond Dust.
Yeah, and I like that kind of juxtaposition, because you got one character that, because they're the protagonist or the good guy, we obviously want her, Lady, to see herself as this new hero, but she doesn't have the confidence. Whereas we have this bad guy, or this character who, isn't doing good, that we're like, yeah, we totally don't want you to be a villain. Like, wouldn't it be great if he was like, I can't be that villain? Like, wouldn't that probably save some people a lot of time? So I'm excited to see kind of how their stories connect and how the characters interact, because I feel like just by kind of all these undertones you're putting out there, that it's more than just I'm a good guy, you're a bad guy kind of fight that's going to come up. There's going to be everything else going on. And one thing I really love too is it seems like there's so much emphasis on legacy and family in this series and in these issues, especially coming up. Were you guys intentional about like, hey, we want to put huge emphasis on these themes of legacy and family? And, why were you intentional about those if you were?
I think the family aspect, even in the original one-shot with Dale and Joanna, forming their relationship, and even the extended family, so to speak, of Professor Rosa and Michael at work, they had that kind of family type of thing going on in some ways, as much as your colleagues can be. So it was definitely something that I was hoping to continue on as we did a continuing series. The legacy is actually something I think Jordan maybe pushed a little bit more, especially when introducing Diamond Dust. Jay, you can probably speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think when we were breaking what we wanted the series to be, which you really get the first big hint of what things look like going forward at the end of that second issue, which again, you can read for free. I hope you will go check it out. It's the idea that generational differences really influence the kind of heroes each character will be. And just naturally it kind of developed from that, of like, how are they going to clash? How are they going to conflict in the ways that Dale did it when he was a hero back in the day versus how Laney is going to be a speedster in the present day? Because, well, it's lighthearted, but we want it to feel modern in the sense that it takes place in the now, maybe a nicer a slightly, more rose-colored version of the now, but we want a chance to touch on things like social media, and being a high schooler in the present day, and those things, how that's different from Dale's experience. So it just kind of naturally developed, and it made for a good first modern day villain to touch on that with Diamond Dust. And we kind of had a chance to revisit a lot of the one-shots villains in these first 4 issues, just by virtue of they really were kind of 1 or 2 page villains for the sake of having a villain characters, and we wanted to expand on them and show more things about those characters.
That's awesome.
We've got a long run in store that we can actually touch on all of those villains and more.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think too, I think a lot of us as fans, myself included, when we get little sneak peeks of characters, but then, creators are able to want to actually go back and flesh out those characters more. Like, that means a lot to me as a fan. And I'm sure to others that you all want to do that again. Because you're right, we don't always get that. Like, a lot of times we do get one-off villains. So it's really cool to, especially for me, see how a creator can take a one-off villain originally and then actually kind of grow them a bit. Have you guys found it challenging to go from that one shot to actually growing it into more?
I think it's been a really natural process of just taking what we thought worked or what we might have wanted to do more with and saying, okay, well, here's a 20-page story that we can do something more with Diamond Dust, or do something more with Leopard Gecko, who was in the first issue. It was a chance to just be like, how can we push it? Because that's, I think, what we always want to do. Is there are a lot of speedster comics, there are a lot of supervillains, and I think every story we want to have an opportunity to go, okay, what's something unique we can do with this character? Even if it's been done before, let's put a different spin on it or present it in a different way. And so with these issues, yeah, we had the first 2 issues have kind of some version of a returning villain, and then the 3rd and 4th both introduce completely new villains. And I would think going forward, it would just be a case of continuing to fold things in, revisiting the past, and introducing more things so that it feels like it's building naturally.
Yeah, and I think even with the one-shot, when we had villains appearing for only a page or 2, just because we had to try to cram an entire superhero career into a few pages, you didn't really get to explore many of the characters in depth. So now they're almost placeholders in the first one, but now we can actually play with them and have fun building out the character a little bit more. And yeah, as far as future issues, if we get to revisit them even more and really develop them as a rogues gallery, that you want to see them come back, and there's more to it than just that one-off appearance. It's exciting.
Yeah, 100%. I know, Jordan, you've said it a couple times now, but I wanted to just bring it to the forefront. As you guys can probably see on the screen, as you guys watching this later, you can get a free digital copy of the full 20-page main story from issue 2 on the Kickstarter page, which will be in the link below. So you can just click and be super lazy like I am. But you can get a free copy. So, kudos to you guys. We were talking before we recorded, but I always think that's a great sign of how great comic is, and a great sign of confidence from you all as the creators that you're not only able to, but you're willing to share that with people and say, here's a free 20-page copy. We hope you're still going to buy it. So big kudos to you guys for doing that. Was there any specific reasons you were like, we really want to make sure this is a part of their campaign for people to read?
Well, just the fact that I believe if you read it, you'll love it. And I hope if you love it, you'll support it, and you'll be back for future issues anyways. So really, it's just that hook that if you give it a try, then you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us about these other backup stories we got here, because as you can see, you guys gave us a great preview for the main story in issue 2, which is great, but there's also all these other stories that you can only get if you actually get it on the Kickstarter. Yeah,
so it's something I wanted to do just to feature some other creators and get their work out there as well. I had a bit of success with a crime anthology I did called Crime Pays, and there were some creators involved in that had never published any work before. It's pretty rewarding for me to actually introduce their work to the world. And so I was hoping to do that with this as well. They're not all brand new creators involved, but some emerging creators here, and just giving them opportunities to put a short story out there. And I'm making this book, I'm getting into backers' hands already, so if we can highlight some new people as well and give more value for the comic itself by bulking up with a couple short stories, and all the better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I think it is phenomenal. Tell us about these awards or rewards. I'm sorry. Because number one, you have all these like amazing variant covers, which is insanely awesome. So many options to choose from.
Yeah, the first row there is all from the original one shot and the first issue. And then so the bottom row is the ones available here. Just with Nico and Fran doing the A covers and Laura Kane doing the B covers. And then Scott Collins is actually doing the C cover for issue 2 based on one of the backup stories. James actually arranged that, and you can see Howway, his character is kind of small here, but I'll be releasing the image because I actually just got an email before I stepped on here. I'll get a full-size image out there pretty quickly. But you can see that a little combination of Bullet and his character.
Yeah, I want to give, and speaking on rewards, I want to give kudos to Randy for really pushing to make each issue feel like an event, which is, I think, a thing we wanted with them. We want that standalone feel. We want each issue to be a self-contained story. And I think giving it the covers, giving it the attention to detail. I don't do anything on the design side, so something that Randy does really well is, we have those backups, we have a letter column, we have a previously on page that kind of gives that recap. So if you're getting the issue, you're hopefully getting a very complete package that would feel at home on the shelf next to a big 2 book. So kudos to Randy on just everything he's done to put the project together.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And that's just the variant covers. You guys have some other great rewards are here. Are there any rewards in particular that you're extra excited about?
It's the first time I've ever done a pin. Enamel pins seem to be very popular, so I thought, I'll do a little bullet head. There's a mock-up of that. Worked out pretty well, I think. We're very limited with what you can do with pins. Just the way the colors have to sit inside of the raised metal parts. And, comic art kind of highlights that with the contour lines and whatnot. But these simple 4 or 5 colors, I forget, just worked out perfectly with his eyes and the goggle and everything. Great work. Nico did this little head for the letterbox or the corner box on the front page. So I reused that as a pin. That should be fun. People seem to like it.
Yeah, it looks great. It honestly looks like something taken directly, if this became an animated TV show, it looks like it was just taken out of that. It's transferred so well. Jordan, any rewards in particular you're excited about?
Well, I was excited about the pin, so I will definitely shout that one out. But also, you can get some commissions across the board. We've got our artists have all offered different slots, which I'm forgetting the exact costs and levels, but Nico and Laura both, right, have offered slots. And then I personally have a slot for comic editing, which is something that I've been editing for over 10 years, so there's a reward slot if you have a script or a pitch doc and you want someone to look at it. I'm offering my service at a fairly competitive rate, I would say. So, we have things where if you want to be involved or get a sense of what our behind-the-scenes process is like, whether it be working with one of the artists on a commission or working with me on a script, we have those kind of options that you can explore as well.
That's awesome. I think that's honestly people might be oh, comic editing, whatever, but that's huge. And to offer it just as a Kickstarter reward, that's really going out of your way. And like you said, doing it at a competitive rate so that it's more affordable. And that takes so much time from you as well. So huge shout out to you for being willing to do that, along with, as you said, these artists' fantastic commissions. I mean, this is a gorgeous Star Wars commission. Then, of course, you've got a glorious Batman commission. If you can get Batman, really right, not just, good, but, to a point where people are that's my Batman, you've got it made. And this looks great. So, shout out to Nico there.
Yeah, he's incredible. It's really hard to believe, but this is his first interior work, is Bullet Adventures #2.
Really?
He's brand new in the industry, and he came on the scene fully formed as an expert artist. It's crazy.
That is crazy because this looks like, from somebody that's fairly seasoned, and even from like somebody that came from like an animator side of things, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what he did beforehand, but yeah, like if you told me he was straight from one of Marvel's top books, I'd believe it. He's incredible. So really happy to have him on. And then Fran was a great compliment to his style. Such vivid colors.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
I completely agree. And, obviously this being funded through Kickstarter, but it's coming through Altruist Comics. So I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit about Altruist Comics as a whole and what you guys do. And obviously, Bold Adventures is a part of the books you publish.
Yeah, Altruist was a company I put together just to initially publish my own work. I released a collection of short stories called Death in Comics. I did the Crime Pays anthology, The Sensational Swan is a different superhero book. And then, of course, Bullet, and running full steam with Bullet Adventures.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys seem to just really have just fantastic content, fantastic comics that you're putting out there, whether it's from you, Randy, or any other creators. And I like seeing that consistency as well. I think you're doing a great job running that and doing Bullet and getting you guys running. So I'm excited to see what else you guys put out soon, because I am sure Bold Adventures will not be the last by any measure.
Yeah, and hopefully lots more of Bullet Adventures, but definitely a few other things in the works. I'll announce that when they're a little bit further along.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is there anything else with Bullet Adventures that you want to touch on today that I might have missed?
No, I think I'd just like to echo kind of what Randy has said, that we've had a chance to work with a really great team. Everyone has brought their A game to make these issues across the board. Personally, some of the most exciting things I've gotten to be a part of. It's and Randy's just done a great job of both putting a team together and treating us all very professionally in terms of payment schedule, working with us. It's a great experience, and I really I hope the book gets rewarded, and I hope that if people give that free issue a shot or just check out the campaign page, I think they'll find something that is exciting. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, if you stripped my involvement out of the book, I'd still probably be the biggest fan of it. Every time I got either a draft of the script or pages coming in, it's the highlight of my week. Seeing this book come together, it literally is competitive with anything the Big Two puts out. High quality, great creators, fun stories. I'm enjoying it. My young kids like it, so it's kind of, if there was a book for everybody, maybe this is it. But it's just a lot of fun. I can't wait to see more.
Yeah, awesome. I couldn't agree more. I'm super excited to get my copies and see what happens in every single issue. And yeah, Jordan, it was interesting to hear. You're like, yeah, Randy's so great to us and being professional, which is wonderful. He gets our payments on time. And I was just thinking, man, it's so sad that we have to say that. Like, getting paid in a timely manner and taken care of professionally. But I'm so glad you guys have such a great creative team. I'm so glad you guys work so well together. It shows in the comic. It shows in the work. So I think if anything makes you guys competitive with other indie comics, and especially the Big Two, it's the fact that you guys work so well together. So a huge congrats to you guys. This is going to be amazing. I know the neighborhood can get this book funded. Those you guys watch this later, of course, again, the Kickstarter link is in the description below. You can just click it. It'll take you there. And maybe you click like 3 to 5 other times, you'll have backed a great project. You don't even have to think about it. Just click away and back some great magic. Be sure to check it out. And if you guys do back it, be sure to share it on Twitter and stuff, so the creators can say their thanks and everybody else can see a good project to back. Randy, Jordan, you guys want to share where we can find you on social media and plug anything else you'd like to plug?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you can find me mostly on Twitter. I'm at Indigo Master, ENDIGOMASTER. My personal website is just my name.com, so jordanalsaqa.com. And this is my big thing right now, but my first original graphic novel is Cooking with Monsters Book 1, and that's coming out from IDW currently in September, but dates always change. So, but I talk about it a lot on my feed. So that would be my next big thing. But right now it's Bullet Adventures. So please check us out.
Well, I'm excited to see that because you shared that pitch with me when we first started chatting, and that was years and years ago, and it's finally coming out soon-ish.
It's a long road in comics.
Yeah, if there's anything you need to learn about comics, is that it's never quick. But yeah, anyways, back to your question. I'm on social media at Altruist Comics pretty much everywhere. I've got altruistcomics.com, got a shop there, but of course everything's available right now through the Kickstarter page as an add-on. But yeah, check me out online, Altruist Comics.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm excited, Jordan, for that project as well. I had no idea, so clearly I need to pay more attention to your feed. I will do that. Super excited to see that come out, even if it's like December. It will get out, Jordan. We will get to read it.
We're supposed to start really promoting it soon, so hopefully I'll have more to show.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited for you both. Thank you guys again for taking the time to come on here and share this with us. And to the rest of you nerdy neighbors, again, check out the Kickstarter, and we'll see you guys next time in the Nerdy Neighborhood.